McGowan gets to get up here week after week and speak in front of various judges and things. I also did want to bring a couple of things to attention. Number one, in my thank yous, I left someone out, and so I wanted to make sure that I rectified that tonight, and that was Mr. Jim McGowan. Our first meet of the season was icy, and he said, "Can you get cross country to Eustis?" And I went, "No." And he said, "Are you sure?" Now, mind you, my husband has tried to teach me this trick, I don't know how many times, but I don't listen. Well, I like to be a passenger princess. So Jim drove us all the way, he led us all the way into Cozad on that very icy day, and we are very thankful for that. So thank you, Mr. McGowan. I would also like to recognize one of my speech team members that gets to go to State FFA in extemporaneous speaking, which to me is the hardest event that they do. I don't know if you noticed the list out there. My extempers have to draw 3 topics at each meet, each speech round. They choose one topic. They have 1 hour to create a 7-minute speech and give that. And Ben Harris placed second at the FFA speech meet, and he will be representing Cambridge FFA at the state extemporaneous FFA, whatever it is. Please give Ben a round of applause. All right, well, I know you all did not come to see this old lady speak, so I'm going to turn it over to my student speakers. Miss Kate Solberg is our first one up, and she does entertainment.
It's hard. Hold on, I can't see all of you. There, that's better. Now you can see me. It's hard being short. Believe me, it's hard. You go from driving with your seat all the way up and you still can't see over the hood of your car. And then you go from band and you play the trombone and literally everybody tells you that your instrument is as tall as you, like you don't already know. And then you walk through crowds and you can't see over anybody's butt. It's hard. But you also wouldn't believe the pros that come in being in such a tiny little package. So today, I'm going to tell you my top 3 personal favorite perks of being fun-sized. So join me as we parkour to new heights, open our cupboards and give us plenty of legroom, and open our tiny little wallets as we make tiny little expenses. So first, our schools. Parkour. The dictionary definition of this word is the activity or sport of moving rapidly through an area, typically an urban environment, negotiating obstacles by running, jumping, and climbing. Yep, sounds about right when you always have to scamper up your pantry shelves just to get a can of green beans, or maneuver your way up and down the fridge with a carton of eggs, and not get yelled at by your mom when you drop them, but that doesn't matter. And that's why us little people have the best core strength known to man, and things like gymnastics can come so easily to us. Once, my dad put my chips on the top of the fridge because he doesn't want me to become what I eat, and he thought just because I couldn't see them meant I couldn't reach them. Little did he know, I was packed with all the determination in the world just to get my snack. So I made my ascent up my Mount Everest. I pushed myself onto the counter. I scampered my way across the cupboards. I leaped over the microwave and the toaster, and I finally reached the top of the fridge. And my chips were on the other side. So I reached, and I reached, and I reached, but I couldn't reach them. My arms were too little. So unfortunately, I had to actually get on top of my fridge and roll across the dusty terrain just to get my snack back. And once I made my descent and my dad found me eating my snack, he was not too happy. But that's besides the point. Now, let's put our stools away and give us plenty of legroom. This is hands down the best part about being fun-sized. You've always got room. Plane rides, car rides, blast rides. You've got room for all your stuff, and most importantly, your snacks. And if I had to bet you, I would tell you that every vertically challenged person's favorite game to play is hide and seek. Maybe because we just always win at the game, but you guys are just mad you can't find the best hiding spots. Once I was playing hide and seek with my friends, and I only had 10 seconds to hide. And my friend was counting 1, 2, 3, and I had to find the best spot. And luckily, I did. Right inside my cat's food container. So I opened the lid, stepped on it, squatted, and closed it. And then I waited. And I waited, and I waited, and I waited some more. But the roles were reversed, and I actually had to go and find my friends for myself. But I still won, so it doesn't matter. Now, let's close our cupboards and open our tiny little ones. Cheap, cheap, cheap. Everybody loves this word, but dare I say you older folk love this word even more. But that's okay, I get it. Things can get expensive, like going out to eat at a restaurant, buying your kids back to school clothes and shoes and backpacks, just going to the movie theater as a family. But not for me. I can go to Walmart, buy a shirt, and it lasts me several years. I have a shirt that I got in 2nd grade, and I still wear to this day, even though it's got a big hole in the back. And I've got shoes from 7th grade that I still wear to this day because they're comfortable, and I have not grown out of them. Once I went to the movie theater with my family to just watch a movie and chill out. And my dad was complaining because I'm going to be $2 more expensive just because I'm turning 16. But I told him it's not me he has to worry about. It's my 12-year-old sister who's about half a foot taller than me, and she looks like she's 16. So instead, he went and scolded her for looking. Anyways, today I told you my top 3 personal favorite perks of being fun size. And yes, there might be some more, but those are just my top 3. And honestly, if everything else goes wrong in my life and I end up without a life or a job, I can always resort back to one place. The North Pole. I'm already a part-time employee there anyways, once I leave the 1st of December every year, because I fill all of your stockings, by the way. Santa is the best boss ever, and he's so appreciative of what us little people do for him.
All right, Miss Lydia McGowan has 2 prose that she's going to do, but her first is her serious prose.
Can you keep a secret? I have one cool grandma. Okay, everybody probably thinks their grandma's pretty cool. But you'll look at the word cool in the dictionary, and you'll see my grandma's picture. At least, in my dictionary. Her name is Marie, but I've always called her Bubbles. Don't ask me why. It started when I was little, and then it just stuck. And then she started calling herself Bubbles, and then everybody started calling her Bubbles. How do I start? Let's just say your own grandma isn't supposed to be a better free pair of shoes than you are, and the typical grandmother doesn't beat you at playing video games. And grandmas do not sit there and play tag with you during church. Bubbles does, and a lot more. I like cheeseburgers. I mean, I guess there's nothing unusual about that. But how many grandmothers would sit there and make you a cheeseburger cake for your birthday? Yes, it can be done. If you use very large buns as the cake layers and ketchup as the frosting, you name it and Bubbles can do it. But my favorite memory with Bubbles is something much simpler. It has nothing to do with video games or cheeseburger cakes. I guess it doesn't even sound like that big of a deal, but to me, it was some of the best times in my life. I love spending time with my grandma. The memories Grandma and I make together are the ones I cherish, because I know these times will fly by. Like, well, Soap Bubbles. In Bubbles by Ken Bradbury, it reminds us to really live in these fleeting moments. Will our narrator cherish her memories? Find out in Bubbles by Ken Bradbury. I'd go visit Bubbles in the summertime. She lived in the country, and even though her hips and knees didn't work as well as they used to,
Our favorite time together was when we'd pack up 2 oatmeal cookies and 2 bottles of orange pop into a plastic sack and start walking. Just walking. Grandpa had a few cats, and we'd always open the back gate and walk across the pasture to the creek that ran behind their house. I guess maybe the creek wasn't that big, but when you're 6 years old, any creek becomes an ocean. Bubbles would sit on the bank of the creek and listen to the birds, while I'd become a pirate attacking the British Navy. A ball and maple stick would become my sword, and I'd drag the bad guys out into the sea, while Bubbles would shout, "Ahoy, avast, hi-ho, go get him, Captain, you go get him," and a bunch of other words that probably had nothing to do with pirates. Of course, I'd win it every time, and Bubbles would shout, "Ahoy, Captain, you did it! You drove those totally villains to sea! And a bottle of orange drink!" And then I'd fall into her lap laughing as she broke out the oatmeal cookies. She'd be in the middle of her cookie when she'd suddenly stop and say, "Hear that?" I'd say, "What?" "A miller!" And then, "That's a pigeon! I think he wants our cookies! He's mad!" Then, after a couple hours of spotting a bunch of other birds, she knew all of them. Skipping rocks across the creek, she taught me how, and just sitting back on the swamp grass, watching the clouds put on a show for just her and me, we'd take our plastic sack and head back home. I love those days, filled with magic, wonder, love. Then something tragic happened. I got busy. School, sports, activities. More and more of my weekends were spent with things that I really had to do. Every week, Bubbles would call and say, "How about a walk in the creek this weekend, Captain?" By then, it sort of embarrassed me when she called me Captain. Sounds like kid stuff. I'd always answered with, "I'm really tied up this weekend, Bubbles. Maybe next week." She'd pause for a moment and then say, "That's okay. You're a busy girl. Maybe next week." I wasn't old enough or smart enough then to catch the sadness in her voice. I visit her every week now. Well, almost every week. Room 212, end of the hall. You have to poke in a certain code to get into her ward. Sometimes she knows me. On the really good days, she'll smile. On the really bad days, she just sort of stares. I feel worse for Mom. Bubbles is her mother, and she's lots more memories with her than I do. We talk. Bubbles nods. We hug her before we leave. And sometimes, she stares at us. She wonders why 2 total strangers are hugging. Walking back to the car, Mom and I try to put up a good front. "She seemed healthy today, didn't she?" "Yes, Mom." "I think she recognized us today, don't you think?" "Yes, Mom." We do a pretty good job of lying to each other, claiming we saw things that were in Bubbles' eyes were just, well, hopes. Sometimes, lying in my bed at night before I go to sleep, sometimes I relive those days, like I want to remember it for the both of us. I try to remember each branch, each slippery rock, each bird that seemed to be extinct for hundreds of years, but just made a special appearance, right there, on Pirate Creek, just for Bubbles and me. Sometimes, we let the most precious things in our lives slip away. Just slip away. I would give anything, absolutely anything, to open that old gate again, to walk across the pasture, to wave to the cows, to walk across the creek, and to fight the British Navy when my best friend was sitting there on the creek, shouting, "Ahoy, avast, hi-ho, go get him, Captain, you go get him, and a bottle of orange drink."
To Jackson for the kill. I love volleyball, especially Nebraska volleyball. I love watching it and playing. Anytime my family gets the opportunity to go to a game in Lincoln, we go. But not only do I watch my beloved Huskers play, I also commentate the play-by-play for our high school team on YouTube and love doing it. This thrill has grown so much where my dream is to be the official commentator for Husker volleyball. Do I say dream? This dream came true last year as an 8th grader and this year again as a freshman when I was on the radio for Nebraska volleyball with John Baylor. Where will this dream take me, I wonder? Let's go back to the beginning, shall we? Today I'll serve up a Nebraska volleyball game and what to expect, set up getting to meet some pretty cool people, and kill getting to be on the radio. But before starting, let's warm up the basics about volleyball. Volleyball is played on a court with a net down the middle. There are 6 players on each side, and opposing teams are on opposite sides. Sets are played to 25 with rally scoring, and best 3 out of 5 sets wins the match. A team gets 3 hits to get the ball back over the net and down. The ideal hits to do that are a bump, set, and spike. If a spike hits the ground on the other side, it is a kill for that player. Other key parts of the game are serving and blocking. Now that you know more about the game of volleyball, I'll serve up a Nebraska volleyball game and what to expect. Early in the 2024 season, my family and I went to a game in Lincoln and I took a picture with John Baylor afterwards. John, better known as JB, calls the radio for Nebraska volleyball. We started talking and I told him that I love volleyball and do the play-by-play for our high school team, and he was fascinated. He even invited me to come back to shadow him and see the behind the scenes of his job at a later date. I was thrilled and instantly started looking for a game to come back to, but couldn't find one for a few months. I eventually did and got back in touch with JB. He said that date worked for him too, and he told me all I needed to know. I was set. I was going to be on the radio for Husker volleyball. I couldn't believe it. I was super excited the whole trip to Lincoln and couldn't wait. On the way, I did research on Rutgers University, Nebraska's opponent, and took note of their leaders in every category. I also prepared myself to meet JB again, and prepped questions to ask him such as how did you get into this profession, how did you get to be the official commentator for Nebraska volleyball, and do you get to travel with the team to away games. I also prepped questions for if I was to get to meet important people such as John Cook, Jalen Reyes, and maybe even some of the players. The day finally came and I was past ready. We went to the Devaney Center again and I met JB again. Then we got everything ready and all the mics and computers were working and we made sure of it. Then JB set us up to meet some pretty cool people. Next we interviewed coaches for both teams. First we interviewed Abby Dietering, an assistant coach for Rutgers volleyball. According to ESPN.com, she played college volleyball at Penn State and was an All-American there. She was super nice and even talked to me for a while. Then we went up to John Cook's office and asked him about his team. He talked about what their game plan and strategy would be for that night and how we wanted them to perform. Then he asked me what I was doing with John Baylor. I told him I was shadowing JB because I want to be the official commentator for Husker volleyball. The interviews JB set us up with enabled us to kill calling the game. We double-checked that everything was working like the computers and mics again while the pregame played, and then I got to put on the headset and listen to JB and Lauren Cook-West commentate the first 2 sets. Then, after the second set, Brianna Holman, a former Nebraska volleyball player, came up to the radio booth and John interviewed her. I got to meet a lot of awesome people that day. Then we put the headsets back on and geared up for set 3. Halfway through the set, John asked if I wanted to be on the radio and call a few points. I said yes, of course. I got to call a few points before handing the mic back to him. Then the game was nearing the end and he handed it back to me. I got to call match point and announce the Husker win live on the radio. I couldn't believe it and how many people had probably heard me. I also couldn't believe how much about what I was learning so much about what I love from the professionals. I thanked JB for everything and took pictures with him, but then I had to return to ordinary life. But it wasn't ordinary at first. I got comments and congratulations every day about that day for a while. I even got interviewed by the local radio station, and they asked me if I would ever do it again. I sure hope so, and I did. I got to call 7 games at state volleyball this year on the NFHS network and multiple local games with Trent Forum. I even got to go back in the 2025 season and shadow JB again and be on the radio with him again. I'm so grateful that I got to expand my knowledge about what I love and hear so much about it from the professionals. My commentating career is just starting, but this speech is nearing the end. Today I served up a Nebraska volleyball game and what to expect, set up getting to meet some pretty cool people, and killed getting to be on the radio. Riley with the set to land fair for the kill, and the Huskers win it at home.
Miss Jaden Kimball, poetry.
Things I would tell every teenage girl. The world is trying to kill you. And if you don't wake her up, no one else will. My eyes are closed. I'm holding on to my slumber and hatred. All along my head, so silent. I can't explain the way. My tears run along my veins. If I let go of my pain, I'll cease to be. Into the plague. If people ask me how I'm doing, I want to say, my depression is an angry deity, a jealous God, a thirsty shadow that brings my joy like a dish tray. It makes juice out of my smile. I want to say, this sadness is the only clean shirt I have left, and my washing machine is broken, and it's been broken for months. But instead, I laugh and say, I'm doing alright. I constantly wonder what happens to a girl who's so anxious that I feel like magic. Can she still fly with wings that tremble? According to the CDC, 49.5% of all teenagers between the ages of 13 and 18 have experienced a mental disorder at some point in their lives. 71.9% of teens report anxiety as a top concern. Why? Today we live in a world that feels chaotic and threatening. School shootings, racial protests, and divisive political climate have disrupted the very fabric of our lives. Not only that, but the ever-increasing dependence on social media has found to have an increase for depression, anxiety, and even suicidal thoughts. Why do we live with how we really feel? It's fine. Really, I'm fine. Everything's fine. A poetry program by Raymond Knapp, Rudy Francisco, Jay Nichelle, Zena L. Host, Melissa Newman Evans, Ruby Keir, and Reagan Myers gives us insight into the minds of the anxious, the nervous, and the ones who lose themselves. My anxiety and I have learned to live together as we speak. I'm pushing against her shoulder, her weight on my shoulders, and as I shake, sometimes I have to fight to stand up straight, stop rocking. I've been fighting her for control of our years, fighting not to crack, stop rocking, don't shake, breathe. Anxiety is desperately trying to look strong when you are undeniably weak. I'm calm, I'm in control, I can do this. No, no, no. Breathe, breathe. Every day you have a choice to walk out of that house, leaving your agitation in the door, or collapsing in the corner. War is coming. I can hear it in my heart. Blood will flow along the grounds of the innocent. I can't deceive the darkness. I'm letting go. I'm losing control of myself. You beat me down so low. I'm crying my soul. I'm losing control to a place where I can't feel my face anymore. So my anxiety and I have inside jokes. When I'm like, I'm gonna go talk to that person over there, and she's like, girl, please. Because of her, I don't curse people at restaurants who get my order wrong. Because maybe the sweet potato fries are what I wanted, but the broccoli they gave me is what I needed. Thank you. When people ask me how I'm doing, I want to say getting out of bed has become a magic trick, and I'm probably the worst magician I know. But I'd rather not ruin someone's day if I try. Honestly, so I treat my face like a pumpkin. I pretend it's Halloween and my carving is something acceptable. When people ask me how I'm doing, it's better to stay silent. I don't know what living in Dallas life feels like. When I'm sad, I don't cry, I pour. When I'm happy, I don't smile, I glow. When I'm angry, I don't yell, I burn. I don't break, I shatter. Death is just an emissary for what's to come. A body left behind with no face, feeling numb, all alone. I cry By slowing your voice when you know what's observed, telling you to be ready is pointless. Telling you to prepare yourself is just another way to blame you for when it happens. And if you don't hold each other up, no one else will.
Mr. Ben Harris with extemporaneous.
Okay. One of the three topics that I drew today was what actions can Congress take to reassert its historical role in the decision to use military force? Now that's a lot of big words that not a lot of us know about, so let's break it down a little bit. So what is it talking about? So by law of Constitution, Congress is the only branch of the government that can actually legally declare war. The president can declare limited military actions that aren't so limited, but legally the Constitution can. But the Congress is the only one that can declare war. Some examples of that are World War I, World War II. Congress decided that we would join. Partially the Revolutionary War when we were fighting Great Britain, and even the Civil War when we were fighting against each other. Those are the only ones that Congress has officially declared war on. Other wars, such as the Korean War, Vietnam War, Persian Gulf War, and post 9/11 reattacks, were all declared by the president. They are technically legal, but there's also loopholes to get there. Back to the question, what can Congress do to retake its historical role? There's three things that Congress can do to kind of rein in what President Trump has been doing to restore power. Number one is strengthen war powers restitution. The war powers restitution law is a law that the president has to notify Congress 48 hours before they actually deploy troops somewhere. So for example, if President Trump wanted to deploy troops somewhere, he'd have to go to Congress and tell them 48 hours before that he's going to do this. Legally, Congress can't do anything about it. They can only nod their heads. But there is a law that says the troop can only stay there for 60 days. So after that 60 days is up, they have to pull the troops out, and then that action is over. One reason Congress can rein that in is they can cut that short and block that off. So for example, if they didn't want President Trump just telling them what to do, they could make a law that would stop that. That could help bring power back to Congress. Number two is power of the purse. This is a law pretty much stating that government spending is only controlled by Congress. So when our founding fathers wrote the Constitution, they wrote that Congress can write budget, direct funds, legal checks, and things for the country that can rule economically. It's also the reason why we're in national debt. That's a different topic. But this law specifically made to block the president from spending. Now President Trump has found loopholes and he's found different ways to spend and put tariffs on different things. So another way Congress can get its power back is by taking those powers away from them and stopping them from doing that. And last but not least is authorizations for use of military force, or otherwise AUMFs. One example of AUMFs is when terrorists attacked us at 9/11, the president retaliated with that. That wasn't a legal declaration of war. It was looked on more as a self-defense. That was qualified as an AUMF. A couple weeks ago when we were bombing Iran, that's classified as an AUMF. Congress had nothing to do with that. So different ways that Congress can take its power back to restore its historical role is by enforcing those three things and cutting President Trump's powers short.
Miss Jackson Jordan with her serious prose.
Hi there. Nice to see you.
strong, I could probably use some stitches, but I don't know if that's gonna happen. I've been here through 2 light times and 2 dark times. I don't get nearly as lonely during the light times as I do during the dark times because I can see what's going on. And even though it can be comforting to be able to see, all I can think about is, please don't take my stuffing, please don't take my stuffing, please don't take my stuffing. During the last light time, a small furry animal came up real close to check me out. I felt his warm breath on my tummy as he sniffed. He nudged me to see if I was alive and would move or something. You would think real animals would be smarter than teddy bears, but it appears not, since I obviously was not going to move for him. So when I didn't, he put his teeth in my arm and swung me back and forth a couple of times like this. And that's how I got the ring in my arm. Oh, don't worry, it's not the first rib I've had. I've had this happen before when the little girl was tiny. She would swing me and throw me out all the time. I was newer then, so I stayed together much better than I do now. But one time, she threw me into a wall and my eye popped off. Oh, don't worry, it didn't hurt too much. I don't know. I just couldn't see very well until the bigger lady took out a small sharp object, put a string through it, and put my eye back on. I felt good as new after that. But it's been many dark times and many light times since then, so I'm starting to get afraid. So that stupid animal's teeth opened up the hole in my arm. For many children, their stuffed animals are their confidants, their best friends. For one little girl, her teddy bear Rosie is just that animal. So why is Rosie lying discarded on the side of the road? As she lies there, she tells the touching story of her little girl, her owner, a little girl who has an abusive mother. As Rosie loyally waits for her little girl to return, she wonders if she will ever be reunited with her special little girl. Find out in Rosie the Teddy Bear by Stephen Bergman. The little girl got me as a present before she could even talk. A big boy found me in a trash can, a little dirty but still new in my box, and brought me to where the little girl and the bigger lady lived, and threw me on the table. The bigger lady took me out of my box and placed me next to the little girl as she slept. She looked so peaceful lying there sleeping during the dark times and looking around making all sorts of cute, cooing, gurgling noises during the light times. That was the happiest time of my life. The swinging quiz was not a lot of fun, but I saw the pleasure it gave the little girl, so getting tossed around didn't matter much to me. As the little girl got older, she stopped throwing me around so much. Instead, she would ask about my thoughts about what to do, supplies, and our tickets. Should we have water or tea if I snack today, Rosie? Do you think Mommy's gonna have any visitors today, Rosie? Where do you think we should go today, Rosie? Rosie, that's my name. When the little girl would get upset, she'd call me Rosie, Rosie, but most of the time, she just called me Rosie. She called me that because I have a rose in the center of my tummy. She told me so herself. There were dark times when she would say things like, don't listen to what she's saying, Rosie, Rosie. If we put our hands over our ears, we can't hear what she's saying, Rosie, Rosie. Maybe if I stay here, she won't find me, Rosie, Rosie. And then the bigger lady would come to the room, and she wouldn't be acting like she needed to put my eye on. Oh no. She would start to say very loud things that I couldn't understand because she connected all her words together. How many times have I told you not to come when I have company? If someone sees you won't get any money for food. Then the bigger lady would take the little girl away from me and leave me in the dark. I couldn't see, but I could hear the loud sounds, and the sounds would pierce my stomach all the way through my body as the little girl screamed for the bigger lady to stop what she was doing. Finally, the little girl would come back to me, her face wet with streams of tears, and she would want to talk to me very much. One day, Rosie, Rosie, you and I will run away from here, and then she'll be sorry. Oh, Rosie, Rosie, I just need to kiss this one spot on my arm, because I know your teddy bear kisses will help it feel better. I would always give her my teddy bear kisses whenever she asked. This isn't the first time I've been outside the house. Sometimes the bigger lady would take me and the little girl to different places, but most of the time, we just went to the old woman's. The bigger lady would take us there and say, come sit at the old woman until I come back to get you. The old woman never played with us. She would just sit us there in a room with a movie box. We just sat there, no one saying a word, until we heard the bigger lady outside. Get out here now, it's time to go home. In the voice I was hard to understand. So we got back in the car. 2 lifetimes ago, the bigger lady came into our room and said, get out here now, it's time to go to the old ones, let's go, don't be slow, in a loud, slurred voice that was hard to understand. So we got in the car. I knew the feelings from the road from our house to the old ones pretty well. But today, the bumps and curves seemed a lot bigger than usual. The bigger lady was saying words about the car, about the old woman, and about people I'd never heard of. And then, all of a sudden, the car made a very big bump, and lots of high and loud noises, and everything in the car started moving around all over the place. Then it became very quiet, and then, boom! I felt the car started spinning I landed on the road right near where you see me now. I wanted so badly to see where the little girl had gone to, but I was facing the wrong direction. Then it became very quiet. And then, boom! I felt it very warm on my back for a few moments. I couldn't see, but I could hear the... Oh, how badly I really want to hear, "Oh, Rosie, it's time to go home to our room now." But so far, the little girl hasn't come to get me. I don't understand it, but I will be strong, as the little girl has been strong, and I will wait here until she finds me.
Liddy McGowan with her humorous prose.
Thank you for tuning in today to Channel 1, the first number in TV entertainment. Each week, at this time, we bring to you exciting adventures from all around the world. Our regular viewers remember that last week I did a program, hand fishing for water monsters. Before that, it was grab a gator by the tail. And voted viewer favorite of the month, how to slap a Bengal tiger and tell about it. In the same vein, today's program will be equally challenging for you. Although other programs have taken me to the Florida Everglades and rural India. That's rural India, not rural Indiana. Today's show is a little closer to home. As a matter of fact, today's show originates from the bathroom of my own home. Why such an exotic setting, you ask? Today, I'm going to show you how to bathe a cat. A TV host who loves adventure. A cat who does not enjoy bathing. A combination for disaster. Will the viewers tune in to see a beautifully bathed kitty cat, or will they fear the recurring injuries from the ferocious feline, which will make it so that they will not do this adventure? Find out in The Cat's Meow by Robert L. Crow. Some time ago, I did a practice session on this program, and I'm pleased to report that my wounds have fully healed. And I have some real important information for you about watering a cat. During my practice session, my cat was not very happy, and I can tell you today that she is suspicious. Now, if the TV cameras will please tilt down, 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 down. Here, there's a cat tied to the drain pipe. Her name's Sheba, a female cat. Why tied to the drain pipe, you ask? That's so that we can find the cat when we start running the water. I'll just start running the water. Not too hot, not too cold. You're going to be getting in there, so you might as well be comfortable. Meow! Ah! Sheba almost pulled the pipes from the drain, from the sink. Well, same to you, sweetie. While the water's running, let me tell you some interesting facts about our feline friends. Cats are the most popular pet in America. Over 25% of homes all around the country have them as pets. Each year, more money is spent on cat food than baby food. I'm not sure what that means. Also, cats have 5 toes on their front paws and 4 on their back paws. I assume that they can run faster on their front paws than their back paws. They also sweat through their paws, and I'm sure Sheba is sweating at this moment. Well, enough interesting stuff about cats. Let's get back to our task at hand. Rule 1 in preparing to bathe a cat is to prepare yourself. Notice now that I'm getting dressed for this occasion. This is a baseball chest protector. You know, I had an idea once, and if somebody wants to steal it, I wouldn't be mad. It's an automatic cat wash. Yes, like a car wash. You put the cat on the bulletproof conveyor belt, and all the work is done by machine. No threat to the owner. But while we're waiting on that invention, here we are. Now I'm going to put on some hockey gloves. Oh, I can hear you now.
Where do I get hockey gloves?
The obvious answer is at a sporting goods store. But if you don't have those, welder's gloves will do nicely. I'll take these off for a moment. This is a beekeeper's hat. While it won't do much for protecting you from the cat, it will make it so maybe the cat doesn't hold a grudge against you. Rule 2 in preparing to bathe the cat is to prepare the work area. Notice here, behind me, I have a bathtub with an enclosure that goes open and shut. Do not, I repeat, do not try this at home if you have a plastic shower curtain, because at the end of this, you will not have a plastic shower curtain. Like me, you're watching this program because, like me, you're a cat lover, so I don't have to spend much time explaining cats. Cats have this attitude. They think they are superior to us and simply tolerate us between feedings. Why are cats the way they are? Thousands of years ago, Egyptians from all around Egypt worshipped cats. Perhaps you think your cat likes you now, or is at least lukewarm about your presence? Savor that feeling, because it's going to get a lot worse when you're done. Here, on this sturdy table, I have the tools I need to bathe the cat. A skirt brush, shampoo, hair conditioner, and Band-Aids. The Band-Aids are for me. I have tried to adequately prepare you for what is to come. However, there could be unforeseen events, so I suggest you write down the 800 number that appears on your screen. That is the cat tech support number. They can provide valuable assistance. I believe that the approach we are taking to bathe the cat is the best approach. There are other ways. Some people suggest the kitchen sink, but that's a two-person job, and our dog doesn't like the cat. Our dog suggests putting the cat in the toilet, closing the lid, and flushing quickly. Sure, that's a quick wash, but it's not very thorough. There are some no-nos that I think are perhaps obvious, but are worth repeating. Even if your cat is white, do not, I repeat, do not use any bleach in the process, because it would be upsetting to me to watch the cat rightly tied in the little window of the washing machine. Also, there's no need to use expensive shampoo. Well, that's a nice gesture. I assure you that the cat doesn't care. You viewers are looking at your watches, and you're noticing we're running out of time.
When do we get to see the washing?
Well, this is a family aired program, and we believe that there's already too much violence on TV. Because of that, we are not going to show the bath on air. The beauty of this program is that we have adequately prepared you for what is to come. See you next week, and remember, don't litter!
Mr. Colton Roast during our second extemporaneous.
What are the geopolitical consequences of Russia and China getting closer economic ties? Well, there are three main things that this will affect. First, this will create a unified anti-Western bloc with Russia, China, and their smaller allies. Second, it will increase Russia's reliance on China economically. And third, the economic ties have lengthened the Russo-Ukrainian war. Now I will tell you why and how these have affected geopolitics. First, China and Russia and their smaller allies can create an anti-Western bloc against the United States and its other allies. China and Russia can also support each other diplomatically, financially, and militarily. Both countries influence many different African countries through economics and their militaries. And Russia also supplies China with very many raw natural resources, which increases China's economy, and also China gives Russia many other resources it uses for its military industry. Second, Russia is being increasingly more reliant on China for its economy. First, China's economy is 8 to 10 times larger than Russia's economy, and China provides 35% of all Russian imports. Also, China buys around 52% of all of Russia's natural gas and oil, but China prioritizes its global market access with countries like the United States and countries in Europe over any military conflict with those countries. So this relegates Russia as more of a junior partner in their relationship, which makes China the stronger partner in the alliance. Third, these economic ties have lengthened the time that the Ukrainian war has been going on. First, the economic ties with China circumvent Western sanctions and keep making money and not have their economy go completely in the gutter. Second, China sustains Russia's military industry with things like computer chips and raw materials for their guns and vehicles for drones and missiles. So, in conclusion, the geopolitical consequences of Russia and China getting closer economic ties are a unified anti-Western bloc, increased Russian reliance on China, and the lengthening of the Russo-Ukrainian war.
Ms. Haley Evans with her informative speech.
We're late for a very important date. A well-loved childhood story of Alice in Wonderland. The characters are hiding their secrets at their madhouse. Today, we're going to open up our storybook, and first, we're going to discuss what Alice in Wonderland syndrome is. Then, we're going to talk about the history, and last but not least, turn the page to talk about how the characters represent the illness. First, Alice in Wonderland syndrome represents an underlying story. Each character represents an illness: madness, anxiety, psychosis, hallucinations, schizophrenia, narcissism, and loss of total reality. Makes people see things that aren't really there, make their body feel if and on their own, and makes them lose more true reality. But what is Alice in Wonderland syndrome? Alice in Wonderland syndrome is a rare neurological disorder, also known as Todd syndrome. According to Cleveland Clinic, there's only been 200 cases reported. There are many symptoms of this syndrome. The most common are seeing things larger or smaller than they truly are, known as macrophasia and macrophasia, according to Cleveland Clinic. Another symptom is it affects a person's sense of time. That in things in their wonderland might seem normal, but in all true reality, only minutes have slowed down. Other symptoms of this is schizophrenia. According to American Psychiatric Association, schizophrenia is a mental disorder. It changes a person's behavior, makes them lose and changes their speech. During these episodes, they have no control over the body. It can last from a couple minutes to a whole half an hour. Alice in Wonderland syndrome is correlated with head injuries or trauma. For example, migraines, nervous system lesions, which is damage to the spinal cord or brain, infections of the brain, epilepsy, intoxication of drugs. And this syndrome is most commonly misdiagnosed since there's no actual test that can prove it. Ones that can help prove it are MRIs, blood tests, psychiatric consultations, electrical brain tests, and if not taken care of, can become life-threatening. But why would such a well-known story be so dark and psychotic? Well, the truth is, it's in the man himself. In 1873, Miss Skeffington Lutwidge was killed by an asylum patient of his nephew, and very close friend, Charles Lutwidge Hodge, also known as Lewis Carroll, was a very close friend of his, and after his friend's death, he became more and more psychotic, showing in his literature and poems. Alice in Wonderland syndrome, Alice in Wonderland's story was also inspired by the symptoms he himself, Lewis Carroll, experienced. He had intoxication, drugs, hallucinations, delusions, showing and getting the book Alice in Wonderland. In 1950, it was discovered by Dr. John Todd, and in 1952, it was discovered by neurologists that is correlated with head injuries. Now, let's turn our page and talk about how the characters are represented in the story, starting off with Alice. According to Medlink.com, all the characters represent illness. Alice, she is schizophrenic. She has nightmare disorder, also known as dream anxiety disorder or DAD. At the start of the story, she is psychotic. She is frightened by a recurring dream of falling down a rabbit hole. She is schizophrenic, seeing creatures doing fictional things, talking, food changing her size from larger to smaller, getting the most common symptom of Alice in Wonderland syndrome. Her hallucinations and delusions show her perspective of her wonderland. Next, turning the page, the Mad Hatter. The Mad Hatter has PTSD. He's also bipolar. The Red Queen destroyed his home and his family. He gets frightened and recurring flashbacks of this. He's bipolar from being super happy to super upset in just a matter of minutes. Speaking of madness, the Red Queen. personality disorder, NPD, and paranoid personality disorder, PD. She has a small head. She becomes very self-absorbed. Everything is about her. She wants to be loved by all, but has no empathy for others. She's easily paranoid, suspicious of everyone. She's surrounded by fakes. She's paranoid, and getting the best of her, she impulsively starts beheading people around her. One of the most characters in our book, the Treasure Cat. The Treasure Cat, he is a true reflection of reality and the dream state. He has the ability to appear and disappear, to flee reality. He represents the whole story altogether. He is the connection to the realm of the human mind. He knows the truth. He states in Lewis Carroll's book, We Are All Mad Here, that to be in Wonderland, you have to be mad. Next, in our story, The White Rabbit. The White Rabbit has anxiety. He is restless, nervous, agitated, always has a need to run time, and the marginal. In every scene, he is always depicted as twitching, blurting sounds, unnecessary movements and words. That is known as Tourette's syndrome. And on our last page, the Dormouse and Absalom. The Dormouse has intermittent explosive disorder. She has short temper, fits of aggression and violence, and Absalom. In every scene he is in, book or story, he is always seen as smoking, and that is associated with drug addiction. In a book, full of adventures, loved by all, a child book, but really it has a deeper meaning. It illustrates illnesses and psychosis of all the characters involved. Today, we opened up our story and we discussed what Alzheimer's syndrome is. Then we talked about the history, and then, last but not least, we talked about the characters involved in it. We see things that aren't there. It makes our body feel as if it weren't our own, and changing a person's cultural reality. We are all mad here.
Miss Ermina Kramer with her poetry program. Change of plans. Jaden and Jackson are going to come up with their duet.
Hey, you're back early, Jimmy. Yeah. Did your date not go well? He didn't show up. Really? Really. What's so wrong with you that you can't trust people you know? Do we have any leftovers in the fridge? Why do you have leftovers? I haven't eaten. You're already at the restaurant. Why didn't you go ahead and eat? It probably had something to do with being embarrassed. What? Didn't we have some pizza in here? Oh, I finished that up while you were gone. Oh, okay. What's in the bowl with the pasta crab over it? Some bread my mom brought me. You're welcome to have one if you like. Maybe for dessert. Do you even like actual supper foods in here? I don't know, probably. Probably? Probably. When Jamie returns home from her failed date, she just wants dinner until she sees what's in the back of the fridge. Has Jamie made a groundbreaking evolutionary discovery? Or does Sam have some less than cleanliness habits? Find out in the object formerly known as potato by Bradley Walton. So you don't really know? Should I? You said you were something you would know, Sam. So he's dating and see what treasures with her. Do you realize in the context of a refrigerator that something is kind of unnerving? It's the advice from the person that stashes the most in the refrigerator. Take it or leave it. Okay, let's see. Carrots? No, I don't feel like carrots. Peas? No. Here's some yogurt, which is out of date. How out of date? 2 weeks. Leave it. It still might be good. You sure? Yeah, I don't like the things to rid away. There are some snack cakes over the microwave you might want to have a look at them. Why? They're turning green.
way in the back, so I don't have to look at them. What are the odds of there being anything edible way in the back?
Probably pretty good.
Edible by my standards?
That's up to you.
Is this soup?
What's up with like,
Soup.
man, why would it not be soup?
Because some things sit in the fridge long enough and start to look like soup, even though they're not soup.
That's very philosophical, very pessimistic, very paranoid. I'm not sure which.
What is this?
A potato.
No.
You need to expand your definition of what a potato looks like.
Potatoes are brown. Sometimes they're gray brown.
That's a gray brown.
It's the wrong shade of gray brown.
You're getting all technical with your gray browns now.
This brown does not exist in Photoshop or nature. I'm scared of seeing something you allege is a potato.
Do you want me to prove it's a potato?
Yes, please.
Then give it here.
What are you gonna do?
Eat it?
You can't eat that.
Well, if you want me to prove it's a potato, then give it here so I can eat it and prove to you that it's a potato.
That wouldn't prove anything.
If it tastes like a potato, then it's a potato.
By that standard, you could eat a whole packets and tell me to have it turned over, and I'd have to take your word for it.
Fine, you eat it and tell me.
No.
Then give it here so I can.
You're being ridiculous.
Give me the potato.
I think it's alive.
Potato? My hit? Now.
Seriously, I think it has legs.
Those are not legs.
Then what are they?
They're, potato things?
How about we put on the floor and see if it walks?
No!
What? Are you scared it actually will or something?
No, I'm going to eat it, and I don't want to eat my food off the floor. That's disgusting.
Your concept of disgusting is in serious need of recalibration.
You're the one saying about the potato 2 legs.
You honestly don't think those resemble legs?
Well, I do.
We could be looking at the birth of a new life form here.
Did I miss something? A second ago, you were grossed out about that thing, and now you seem like you're in awe of it.
It's the most disgusting thing I think I've ever seen in my life. And yes, I guess I am in awe of it because I've never seen anything like it before.
Well, if it's the most disgusting thing you've never seen in your life, then that does imply that you have matter of fact never seen anything like that before, but that does not mean that it's a new life form.
Vegetables don't have legs.
Okay, well, if that turns out that you're somehow right, I'm not a vegetarian.
It has legs, maybe arms, definitely hair. There's some green stuff going inside, and some kind of primordial looking ooze leaking out of it. There's a ton of biological activity going on with this thing.
You're getting carried away.
No, look what you did, you killed it!
Holy cow. I was gonna eat that.
Think of what this could have done for us. Think it could have taught us by studying its unique potato as refrigerated mutated biology. Think what this could have taught us, the things it could have done for us.
I think that one seriously made me sick as a dog.
What?
Those insides, they're not potato insides, they're all pink and gooey.
I told you it had some kind of primordial looking ooze leaking out of it.
It kind of looks like it might glow in the dark, but I'd rather not find out. Hey, what are you doing?
Throw it away?
Not in here, you're not.
Why not?
It could crawl out of the trash can and kill us in our sleep, but you're going first because you touched it last.
We dropped it. It split wide open.
It could be angry, and if it regains consciousness, it will kill you.
We could microwave it.
Do you seriously want to be wiping that up if it explodes in the microwave? It could corrode your arm off.
The dumpster right back?
That's probably a safer bet. Here, I do it. You go find something to eat.
I don't think there's anything edible in the fridge.
Just keep digging. There's something in the way back.
Do you think we can fit the whole fridge in the dumpster?
I hope so.
DJ Velasco with the Persuasive Student.
ongoing violence in Israel and Gaza? I thought they had a ceasefire. Well, what's with the Epstein files? 200 people killed in Nigeria? What in the world? That may have been crazy, but this should be a normal reaction for people. Reacting to such tragic news should bring strong responses from us, not just reacting with sad emojis or comments and brushing it off. Nowadays, the young generation is constantly exposed to graphic footage online, causing them to become callous. Social media is desensitizing our people, especially our young, and we have to act on this issue. So, let's put down our phones to figure out what causes desensitization. Then, we will put them away to examine the effects of this madness. And finally, we will take a break to see how we can counteract with this mindless activity. According to an article written in June 2024 by Penn State, desensitization is a reduced emotional and physical response to a situation after being repeatedly exposed to it. This is used in treatments where the patient is consistently shown their fears, from cartoon drawings to realistic photos to even real-life simulations. The patients overcome their fear by slowly adapting. The same thing happens when we sit down, grab our phones by instinct, and stumble upon a violent video online. Except our emotions are at stake. The most common causes that we interact with every day are movies, TV shows, video games, and news. Movies make up a huge factor. Emons from CNN in 2013 reported that about 90% of movies depict acts of violence in some way. In another source by Clark from the Tower, about 80% of TV shows and 68% of video games include media violence. With how often we associate with all of this, it becomes a rabbit hole to us, pulling us deeper as we become obsessed and invested. How is it affecting us then? Well, we develop negative behaviors. It causes us to become less empathetic to the suffering of others, and it increases the aggression to an individual. And it decreases our likelihood to intervene if something were to happen in front of us. A study conducted by Local Psychology in September 2025 found that teens exposed to media violence become more accepting of brutality to solve problems. Our boys, especially teens, face these situations. As mentioned by Will from Edwin.org in February 2023, figures such as Andrew Tate spread misogynistic views to boys as young as 11. That toxicity can embed into behaviors of men, leading to decreased vulnerability and emotional responses such as crying openly. Girls are not safe either. McCutcheon from PSIG in November 2024 researched how beauty standards have impacted much more young girls than ever. Insecurity arises as perfect body figures and body shaming become frequent online. These societal expectations can pressure a person into depression. According to the API organization, about 36.7% of women and 20.4% of men were diagnosed with depression. Women are more likely to attempt suicide than men, but the men are more likely
with 4 times higher succession rate. With social media becoming more of a need rather than an outlet these days, the media becomes unavoidable. So, who are from the Inquisitive Mind mentioned some strategies that we as a society can do to reduce desensitization. By informing people clearly that their actions shape their algorithms, being aware of what you consume changes your social view. 2. Training their emotional intelligence through simulations such as role play. People build social skills and while also having mindfulness for others. 3. Encouraging people to speak out against hate speeches. Not only does this help with building character, but it also inspires the young to speak out against any wrong. 4. Providing support. Schools should provide counseling for online experiences to let children and teens know that every problem is not without blame. 5. Taking a break. Put down your phone and do something else, such as walking around your house, enjoying the sun, eating some snacks, or my personal favorite, taking a nap. A study conducted by Calvert and Capriani from JAMA Network found that 373 of the participants reduced their anxiety by 16.1%, depression by 24.8%, and insomnia by 14.5%, all from taking a break. Today, we turn off the cause of desensitization. Then we put it away by recognizing the effects of it. And finally, we took a break to reduce the numbing. I know everyone can just avoid social media completely. People depend on technology every day, myself included. But being constantly exposed to negativity destroys your mental health. So next time you see another video on your reels, put down your phone.
All right. Miss Jensen Weiss with her OID. She can get out of the room.
On your marks, get set, bang! Suddenly you're racing forward, fighting for your life against 50 or more other girls to get to a finish line that is 3 miles away. If this sounds fun, then cross country is just the sport for you. Now I know what you're probably thinking. Great, this random girl's gonna come in here and tell us why cross country is an amazing sport and running's not that bad. But that's where you're wrong. Cross country is a good sport and all, but the running is that bad. Now let's put on our running shoes and lace them up tight, for we have a lot of ground to cover. First, we'll start off by warming up and stretching and going over how athletes prepare for a meet. Next, we'll put on our sunglasses and people watch and take a glance at some of the people we may find at a cross-country meet.
Then lastly, we'll suit up in our uniforms and go through what an average meet day consists of. Oh man, time is already ticking, so we better get going. Well, the first way to prepare for a meet is to practice. And I bet you can guess what we do for practice. You're right, we run. Practices are normally pretty chill, until you see Coach with his clipboard and his stopwatch. Then you know you're in for a tough practice. These practices usually consist of some sort of timed mile, 3 miles at race pace, or some sort of workout on the track. The next practice that we all hate to see coming is the day that we run hill repeats. And I think that's self-explanatory. There is some good, however, that comes from having to go through all of these practices, and that's the team meals. Team meals usually consist of some sort of pasta, a veggie tray to try to make it seem like we're trying to eat healthy, some fruit, and of course, desserts. The most surprising thing to watch at a team meal is how much food some of the guys can eat. The guys look like they could blow away if the wind was too strong, then you watch them down 3 plates of food in under 30 minutes. Now, let's put on our sunglasses and people watch, for there's a lot of people that you can find. When you think of a runner, you think of a stick, right? I can't describe the amount of people that I've seen that are actually built like this, especially the guys. Let's meet our first runner. Our first runner is the professional athlete. At least that's what they think of themselves. They basically sprint the whole race, get done, and act like it was nothing. You can always spot them by when you can see them wearing their best gear. The best watches, spikes, shoes. They have a pair of shoes for any situation. Some people would say they have a lot of soul. Get it? You know, soul in your shoe? Oh, never mind. Moving on to our next runner. Your next runner is the one that's there to get in shape for another sport. I'm only here to get in shape for basketball. If it weren't for that, I wouldn't be here. Okay, we get it. You do other sports that aren't just running. Lucky you. Now that we've met some of our runners, let's run on over to our coaches and take a look at some of our coaches. At a cross-country meet, there are 2 types of coaches. Your first coach is the one that's yelling at you to go get the girl in front of you and come on, pick up your pace, you're going too slow. Then the second coach is the one that quietly stands there, sometimes tells you good job, and speaks in a tone that you can barely even hear. Having met our coaches, let's meet our spectators, otherwise known as our parents. Something you should know about the sport of cross country is that the parents have to run too. They're running from one spot to another just to get a glimpse of their kid for maybe 10 seconds before they turn around and run to their next spot. When they're not running from spot to spot, you can often find them cheering on their kid. The phrase that they often like to repeat is, "Come on, you got it, you're almost there." That is a lie. Usually you're about a mile away from the finish line when they tell you this. Now that we've put on our sunglasses and met some of the people we may find at a cross-country meet, let's suit up in our uniforms and go through what an average meet day consists of. It's meet day. The stress is high and there are vans packed full of kids arriving at the meet. This is where the first race happens. This is where all the teams are racing to get the best camp spot for their team that is unspoken reserved for their team. Once you find your camp spot and put all your gear down, then it's time to walk the course. Let me describe to you what an average course looks like. It looks like somebody gave a toddler a marker and they scribbled on a piece of paper, and that's what they decided to paint on a golf course. It has a bunch of zigzags, loops, random shapes, 0 straight lines, and of course, they choose to go up the biggest hill they can find on the whole golf course. Once the course is walked, it's then time to warm up and stretch and mentally prepare yourself for the 3 miles ahead of you. Then it's race time. You go and find your starting box that's about 5 feet wide that you somehow have to fit 5 or more girls into. Then the starter comes out and he crosses to the middle of the field and get down, he's got a gun! Oh, sorry, that was an overreaction. You see, I whoever uses a gun to start the race, that's my bad. We get our commands. On your marks, get set, bang. Everyone's running forward in one big movement. I'd often compare the start of a cross-country race to how Simba felt in that one scene from The Lion King. Once you get going in the race, the pack eventually spreads out. That's when you find the obstacle that all runners hate to see coming. The old lady, probably somebody's grandma that's lost, that is standing directly on the line. When you run into her, you have 3 options. Your first option is try to yell and get her to move, but usually you're too gassed at that point to yell, and she probably couldn't hear you. Then your second option is to juke and jive and try to get around her without running her over and without knocking over the girl running next to you. Then your third option, drop your shoulder and pray for the best. I haven't personally tried this one, but I've always wanted to. Once you pass this obstacle, it's then smooth sailing for there. As smooth sailing as running 3 miles could be. Then finally, you see the finish line come into view. You sprint as hard as you can to get to the finish line, cross the finish line, and collapse on the ground, fighting the urge to throw up, all while questioning, why do I do this sport? Today, we dove into the world of cross countries and ran through cross country. We started by warming up and stretching and going over how athletes prepare for a meet. Then we put on our sunglasses and people watched and went over how athletes, some of the people you may find at a cross country meet. Then lastly, we suited up in our uniforms and went through what an average meet day consists of. Now, hopefully, you all understand there's more to cross country than just running. I mean, yes, that's the whole premise of the sport, but you know what? I'm not going to argue with you. You're allowed to believe what you want to believe.
All right, and our last performance of the evening will be our OID team consisting of Ms. Jensen Weiss, Mr. Colton Gross, Ms. Hermina Kramer, and Ms. Kate Stoller.
So, are you ready to get back to work, Dr. Waverly? I'm positive. I can't wait to start. I went to bat for you. I wanted to make sure everything will be all right. I know you did, Dr. Wilson, and I'm so very grateful. I assure you, everything will be great. I've hired a very experienced nanny to look after little Natalie. She assures me that she and little Natalie will get along famously. I certainly hope so. Her name is Mrs. Behringer. She and little Natalie really seemed to hit it off this morning before I left. They're going to start off with a trip to the zoo. Hopefully, the people that work at the zoo won't remember little Natalie from last year. You know, that business with the monkeys when the entire appointment house stopped eating, drinking, and even moving? I remember. Say, we have new furniture. I like this chair. After the episode last year, there wasn't much left of furniture. We also had the walls replaced. You may recall the holes in the broken glass. Yeah, I'm really sorry about all that. Very well. Well, are you ready to get started? Ready, Neither. Good.
Dr. Waverly is a psychiatrist with a big problem.
Not a problem per se.
A brat. B-R-A-T. Brat.
Right. A brat who not only destroyed the office, but was banned from the zoo. How does a child get banned from the zoo?
Dr. Waverly returns to work when she meets with a new patient.
A man with mild functional paranoia.
And little Natalie plants ideas into her mom's head.
Dr. Waverly begins to see her harmless patient as a mobster about to commit a major crime.
Will Dr. Waverly help the poor man?
Or will she evolve into a raving lunatic?
Find out in Functional Paranoia with Obsessive Compulsive Tendencies by Burton Bumgarner. I'm giving you Mr. Benton. He has a mild case of functional paranoia. He fantasizes a bit and has some obsessive compulsive tendencies. He's been on a mild sedative for sleeping disorder and...
Ring, 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 ring. Ring, ring, ring,
Maybe you
ring.
better answer that, Dr. Waverly?
No,
Ring, ring, ring,
I'm
ring.
okay.
It's little
Ring,
Natalie.
ring, ring, ring.
I'm not surprised.
I'm not gonna
Ring,
answer.
ring, ring, ring.
Maybe you should.
No, I know what
Ring,
she
ring,
said.
ring,
I
ring.
told her mommy can't be disturbed when she's
Ring,
with her
ring, ring,
patients.
Maybe you better tell her
Ring, ring,
one
ring,
more
ring.
time.
You're right. Yes, dear, what is it?
Mrs. Barringer told me a story.
That's wonderful, dear.
It was Hansel and Gretel.
That's a scary story, but we've read that one before.
Not the way she tells it. The witch eats Hansel and Gretel and then eats the woodcutter and his wife. And then she goes to town and eats all the children she can find. She said, I'll be next. I'm scared, Bonnie.
Now, dear, I'm sure Mrs. Barringer didn't mean it. Are you ready to go to the zoo?
I don't think we're going. Mrs. Barringer is sitting in the hot tub eating bagels.
Maybe she just needs to relax a bit before she takes you to the zoo. Listen, dear, I've got to go. Be a good girl for Mrs. Barringer. I'll see you this afternoon. Bye. Sorry.
Anyway, Mr. Benton has no dangerous or self-destructive history. I'm looking forward to meeting him. Remember, Dr. Waverly, you have to give your patient your full and undivided attention. Mr. Benton, this is Dr. Waverly. She'll be talking with you today.
Mr. Benton.
Afraid of germs, won't shake hands?
Sorry. Have a seat, Mr. Benton.
This thing is not tacky. It's crowded with germs. I hate germs.
What would you like to talk about, Mr. Benton?
The world is such a dirty place. Germs everywhere.
And these germs bother you?
Of course they bother me. They make me sick.
Are you sick today?
Of course not. I have my disinfectant spray.
I see from your records that you used to work for a meat processing company.
Filthy work. I don't want to talk about it.
After that, you worked as a plumber's assistant.
Horrible work. Germs everywhere. I don't want to talk about it.
What would you like to talk about, Mr. Benton?
I talked with Dr. Wilson about my fear of germs. She told me to avoid dirty places, which limited my career choices. The world is such a dirty place. Anyway, I realized the only way I could ever obtain gainful employment was by working out of my home, which is what I do. I buy and sell things, which is nice because I never actually have to handle the things I buy and sell.
What kind of things do you buy and sell, Mr. Benton?
The usual chainsaws, outboard motors, fishing equipment, hunting dogs, rare books.
Ring, 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 ring. Hello, little Natalie. How are things going with Mrs. Barringer?
Mom, Mrs. Barringer locked me in the broom closet. She's going for your jewelry.
Are you telling mommy the truth?
Of course I am. I wouldn't tell a thing. The police were here. They asked if I knew anything about a woman who strangles people with her bare hands. It sounded like Mrs. Barringer.
Now listen here, young lady. I do not believe a word you are saying. We've talked about this. I have to work.
Alright, now the last one. Thanks to a lousy can of disinfectant spray, I ended up with a car big enough to hold a swimming pool. I never use swimming pools though, too many germs. So, I'm stuck with this big elusive car, and I start having these dreams. I'm driving in the car, and all of a sudden, these guys are in the car with me. And they've got strange names like Benny the Banana, Auntie Rico the Enforcer.
Go on, Mr. Benton. I'm listening.
Okay, so, anyway, I'm driving these guys downtown. We're old friends, talking and everything. We stop at Lou's Little Italy for some lasagna and garlic toast. Then we get back in the car, talking and laughing. And all of a sudden, my cell phone goes off.
Ring, 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 ring.
Keep talking, Mr. Benton. Little Natalie, stop calling me.
I just wanted to tell you we're leaving for the zoo.
I'm glad to hear that. Fresh air is good for you.
It's the zoo, Mommy. The air isn't all that fresh.
Are you and Mrs. Barringer getting along?
Not really. She made me eat cat food and I got sick on my stomach.
We don't
sign says Big Louie's Bar. Still there, Doc?
Yes, Mr. Benson, Big Louie's Bar. Please keep going.
Me and Rico and Betty goes into this place.
Benny and Enrico.
Yeah, Betty the banana and Rico the enforcer. The guys in the car.
The car.
Big caddy outside Big Louie's Bar.
Of course.
So Rico says, "Hey, Big Louie, we want you to go for a little ride." And Louie says, "Yeah, whatever, prefer public transportation." And Benny says, "We got a special deal on one-way trips to the river." And Benny and Rico showed Big Louie to the caddy.
And then what did you do?
I drove to the river. Rico stuck Big Louie's feet in a bucket of wet cement and sent out for Chinese food. Me and sweet sour sugar about the cement dried. I offered Big Louie a fortune cookie. It said, "We'll take a trip on a body of water." Sounded good to us, so we tossed them in the river along with the takeout bags.
So you're saying...
We're guilty of whacking Big Louie and tossing litter into the river. I don't know which is worse.
Ring, 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 ring. Keep talking.
I don't
Ring,
know.
ring, ring, ring.
You must be feeling some kind of anxiety over this.
Oh yeah, I'm real anxious. I never found out why we had to whack Big Louie.
What about guilt? Do you have any feelings of guilt for what happened to Big Louie?
Here's the interesting part. I really don't. Sure, I don't even know the guy. I'm figuring he deserves to get whacked.
Ring, 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 ring.
Hello?
Please tell me that you're making up that business about Jack the Ripper and Mrs. Behringer.
Is that what you want me to say, Mommy?
I want you to tell me the truth.
I told you the truth, but I can tell you something else if you want.
Look, Mommy's dealing with a very dangerous patient. I need to know that everything's okay with you and Mrs. Behringer.
I haven't seen Mrs. Behringer since she walked in the broom closet.
Our broom closet doesn't have a lock on the door.
It does now. Mrs. Behringer put a lock on the door. She has this toolbox and drilled the holes and put it on the lock.
Little Natalie, I don't believe you. At least I think I don't believe you. At least I don't want to believe you. Are you telling me the truth?
Hey Doc, are you okay?
I'm fine, Mr. Benson. Must be something going on outside. Don't let the noises distract you. When I get home, I'm going to...
I hope I'm still alive, Mommy. It's getting hard to breathe.
Stop it. I know you're fake. Please continue, Mr. Benson.
As I was saying, me and Betty's riding around to the caddy, and he starts talking about Rico. Says he's got some bad news. Says we've got to whack Rico on account of he's a snitch. He's been wearing a wire the whole time we've been out whacking people. That's a shame, because the three of us goes back a long ways, running numbers, collecting bribes, beating up old ladies. Then he makes me stop for Chinese food.
Ring, 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 ring.
Little Natalie, I don't want any more stories. Either tell me the truth or I'm hanging up the phone and I'll deal with you when I get home this evening.
Okay, okay. Mrs. Behringer doesn't have a cat named Jack the Ripper, and she didn't use the hot tub or lock me in the broom closet. And she is really nice.
Well, I'm happy to hear that.
And we're going to the zoo. I told her about what happened the last time I went to the zoo. You know, with the monkeys. She said we'd see the elephants and the snakes instead.
That's wonderful, dear. I know you'll have a wonderful time.
And we're gonna meet his son. He's a grown-up. He's gonna have lunch with us, and we're gonna have ice cream on the way home. I gotta go, Mommy.
I found out Rico likes to meet his old lady at the zoo for lunch. So the old lady takes care of her kids or something. No, like nanny. Anyway, he's meeting her at the zoo, and we're gonna take care of business.
At the zoo?
Yeah, there's plenty of people so we can blend in. So I asked, what if we accidentally take out some innocent bystanders? And Betty says, who cares? We take out innocent bystanders all the time.
So you've actually killed people?
Well, yeah.
So what happened?
Well, we stopped for Chinese. This time, I had kung pao chicken. Nothing like Chinese food before work, you know what I mean? The boss said Rico and his old lady will be checking out the elephants and the snakes.
What?
He said Rico and his old lady will be checking out the elephants and the snakes. So, Benny heads into the zoo. In a few minutes, he's back saying he found the intended party. Rico is with his old lady, and the old lady has his kid.
Kid?
Yeah, little girl, kind of ready. I'm thinking we gotta be careful on account. We don't want to accidentally take out the old lady, and we really don't want to hurt the kid. But you know, stuff happens. Can't be helped.
Don't you dare hurt my child! Come on, little Natalie, answer the phone. Come on!
Hello.
Little Natalie, you've got to get away from the zoo. There are some really mean men, and they're going to hurt Mrs. Behringer's son.
This is Natalie. I can't come to the phone right now. My mommy's probably being mean to me. But if you leave your name and a message, I'll call you back. Beep! on and go to the zoo. If anything has happened to little Natalie, I'll find you. I'll set your hair on fire, pull out your nails with a pair of pliers, remove your skin with battery acid, and then I'll really hurt you. I'll fill your house with rotting garbage, flies, and maggots. There won't be anywhere in the world that you can go that won't be dirty. Do you hear me, you killer? Hello? 911? You've got to get to the zoo. Send every policeman you have. Send the army.
Wait, Doctor. I'm afraid Dr. Waverly may have set your treatment back a bit. Actually, a whole lot. I expect you to turn into a quivering mass of jello at any moment. Mr. Benton?
Wow, I heard about that aggressive confrontational treatment, but I never thought it would work.
We don't believe in confrontation in any form.
Really, Dr. Waverly is amazing. One moment, I'm lying there telling her the same dream I've had for the past 2 years. You know, the Cadillac, the Hitman, all that stuff. We're about to go to the zoo to whack Rico. You always thought Rico was symbolic of a traumatic relationship with my grandmother when I was 3 months old. Anyway, I'm about to get to the part where we whack Rico, only he turns into the big red elephant with wings and starts flying all over the place, and it's a small world after all, which, by the way, brings on a whole other set of anxiety dreams. All of a sudden, Dr. Waverly starts strangling me.
I don't know what to say. I'm so sorry.
I'm not. Watch this. Look, I'm on the floor. Look at all these germs that are running around me. I love it. Give me your hand.
Mr. Benson?
Look, I'm dancing away at it, and I'm not even afraid of germs. I think I'll kiss you.
I really wish you wouldn't.
I'll just get a germ. I'm cured. No more sitting in front of my computer wishing I could go out and have a life. No more hour after hour of old movies about gangsters and organized crime. I'm cured. No more buying and selling junk off of eBay. Yippee!
Really? Hello? The police? Yes, I know a Dr. Waverly. She's where? All the animals are traumatized? She's screaming, "Where's little Natalie?" and making threats? I'll be right there, and I'll bring a sedative.
Just the judge and the other people competing. So tonight is a whole new ballgame for them in here with a very large crowd of people. I thank you all for coming. I would like Ms. Jensen Weiss, our senior, to come up with her parents, Mr. Jason Weiss and Mrs. Jamie Weiss. Jensen has been on this speech team all 4 years of high school. The first year I came on as coach, she was one of the few people that decided she would break and go with me. And she's been our captain the last 2 years. Her parents are wonderful people, Jason and Jamie, and I am really going to miss Jensen next year. And yes, Jason, she is my favorite twin. One of the parts of being able to letter in speech is before every practice, we count up the points for who practices the most with Mrs. Brown in the classroom. We also award points for attending the speech meets, and we award points based on the points they earn at the speech meet. So I have a lot of students that get to letter each year, but this year I had one student that far and above outshined everybody in coming into practice and had by far the most points. So Jackson, will you please come up here? I got Jackson a special gift for today, but I also also wrapped it very, very special. It has never happened to me before, but during RPAC's speech, while she was attempting to give her speech, the judge was eating a fish sandwich while crinkling the aluminum foil. And Jackson was a trooper through it all, but it has given us a chuckle. And I wanted to recognize her commitment to practice, but I also had to do a little something for this fish sandwich.
Everyone.
I did tell the students before I left down here, this has been my greatest year of coaching yet, and it is a thanks to the ladies and gentlemen you see up here. This was our first year ever winning a invitational. We won the Chase County Invitational. So we have a trophy in the trophy case. We're pretty proud of you. Every one of these students has medaled at least one meet, but I also needed them to know that they are all medal winners in my heart. So I wanted to, I know they're a little weird that I'm here, so I wanted to give you each your own medal from me if they will untangle. Thank you. I should have untangled them. We'll get there. There we go. You don't like the one I give you, you can change it out for a different one. Unless I break it, then you don't want it. We just get another round of applause. And one more thank you to my husband, who has to do all my donkey and chicken chores during speech season and make sure my van or my car is full of gas and make sure I'm well taken care of and have supper ready for me when I get home and endures all of that. He is my rock, and I'm very, very thankful to have the support system at home I do. So thank you, Nick, for all you